So it's cool to finally have an actual Quintesson, but what am I looking at? What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers 1 Prime Changer's Quintesson High Commander. Yeah, that's what this thing's called. Now, believe it or not, this figure is a Walmart exclusive. I believe the other Prime Changers we've taken a look at before are available on both Walmart and Target, but the Quintesson High Commander here, specifically, is sold in Walmarts. So this character is going to be a little different, and interesting because it's going to be the first time in a long time, actually, since the Quintessons have made their debut in the 1986 movie. They will make a return in Transformers 1. As of now, I have not seen the movie yet, but I think the Quintessons are going to play a pivotal role in the movie. I don't know if that's what the Autobots and Decepticons are going to fight first before turning on each other, but if that's not the case, I'm not sure what else is. I guess I'll have to watch the movie. Also, this time around, the Quintessons don't have normal legs. They just float, just with tentacles. It's weird, and they're kind of on the stinky breath side, as seen in the teaser. I'm not sure how Sentinel Prime's gonna escape that one, or even if he makes it out. But anyways, I believe this is the figure of that same character, and yeah. I believe out of the 5 Prime Changers, this one was the third figure to be revealed, and after that was 2 more, and then that was it. As you know, I have already covered the other 4, so this is the last one to take a look at. And this one, I must say, is the odd one out of all the other 4. As not only does he come out as being one of the smallest, but he's just weird. But before we take a look at the figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So starting off on the front, you get this nice CG rendition of, oh my goodness, what am I looking at? It looks like a warship made out of skin or whatever, rather than metal. But anyways, the rest of the box art is all words, names, and logos. On the top is the Transformers 1 logo accompanied by the main protagonists, and then you turn to the bottom is all boring. You turn to the right side of the box, and once again is the main protagonists, and by turning to the left side of the box is the Quintesson. But then spin to the back, and you get a little more info on what you get inside the packaging, as well as what appears to be an earlier version of the Quintesson High Commander, as they look a little different in terms of paint. Oh, and there's not much below. But with that being said, let's get back to the figure. So starting off, painting and sculpting is okay. It's alright. I mean, focusing on the top half is pretty good. Looks pretty accurate to what we saw in the movie. Just the use of 3 colors, that being whatever this type of green is, whatever this type of red is, and a little bit of silver, does not do a bad job at presenting the way this figure should look color-wise. Oh, and that head sculpt looks nice. It's impressive to see how fairly detailed the head sculpt is on a mainline toy. And whatever this is in the back looks pretty nasty too. I'm starting to think that whatever is red is just the normal skin and whatever's green is armor bits. I mean, look at this. Look at these little details right here. The designers really went their way to make sure you tread the overall aesthetic to the character, because this is an impressive design. I've noticed that one arm is different from the other in paint and even in details, as this one shows a little bit more of that scaly skin than this one. But yeah, the top half does a pretty good job. The bottom half, what's going on here? I got the tentacles were there, but just the way they came about and this figure are... what? For example, why are the entirety of the tentacles purple when they should be the same green? They are simply just green on the bottom. Is this to imply that the legs are simply just Energon legs and not real legs for this guy? Because that's what it looks like here. Oh, and the stand. It's so weird. Even the back is weird too. This is all alt mode kibble, I believe. I suppose this could be an excuse as a cape, as, you know what, it does look pretty cool as a cape. And then of course being a tread wheel thing. Is this Quintesson old? Oh, and the stand also has a buttload of like spikes to make sure it looks like a Quintesson-ish stand. But again, all of this transforms into the back of the alt mode. So the bottom half of this figure, yeah, no, I honestly don't know what's going on here. But I do understand there were some compromises to make for this figure. It's just the way they went about it was odd. Could they have not found a way to figure out how to fold all of this in? In this instance, I'm okay with back kibble as long as it's not that big. Let alone some slight arm kibble, as the back of the hollow arms do indicate that this guy's kind of missing some meat. I mean, look at this. the arms are empty. Oh, and one more thing when making that Studio Series version of the Quintesson High Commander, make sure the legs have a little bit of more articulation, please. And lastly, it would be cool if they could do something where they make a stand similar to the Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Soundwaves, and all the bottom half complaints would be gone. But again, this is mainline, so yeah. The quality on this figure, well, at least for the arms, is not too tight, not too loose, especially for the head. Oh, and moving the legs up and down are fine as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for quality. Nothing else. And I already mentioned the kibble, that being it's all on the back, and some of the kibble for the alt mode is used as a cape and a stand. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's get down to the only accessory he comes with, that being a dark Energon cube, to which he doesn't hold it at all. It's just rests on his arms. I don't know if this cube will be included in the movie, but it sure is included with this mainline figure. I was hoping a cooler accessory would have been included with this guy, but since this is a Quintesson, not only is the looks different than the other Cybertronians, but what he comes with will also be different. And again, this cube is not all that bad. I believe this is the proper size in the Studio Series scale in case there were to ever be a Studio Series 07 Allspark accessory. Hasn't happened yet. Why? I have no clue. In case Hasbro ever does a Battle Damage SS-49 Bumblebee or an Ice Cold NBE-1 version of Megatron, they should definitely make a cube with either one of those figures. Most likely, if such a cube accessory were to exist, it would probably go to the Battle Damage Bumblebee. But anyways, that's a whole different story. Gosh, I need to do those Studio Series movie checklists. Those are really cool. Did you know that if you push this down and open this up, down yonder on that slot right there is a form of accessory storage. Simply just to store the cube and nothing else. Oh, and you might want to close the fin and close this entire body. It's a shame that the weapon storage does expose and spoil the transformation for anyone who doesn't know how to transform this guy yet. If a Studio Series version of the Quintesson does end up coming to fruition, I sure hope the accessory and accessory storage is handled a little better. But for now, this is what we're working with. And that's pretty much it for accessories. Now moving on to articulation. Starting off, this guy kinda has a Studio Series Bone Crusher head joint where it's just a side to side, up and down, with a ball joint and also a hinge joint. If you want to move this guy's head up, you'll have to move that, which is super inaccurate. Since there's a ball joint at the shoulder, somewhat a full rotation at the arm, bend at the shoulder, ball joint at the elbow, which allows for a bend at the elbow swivel, no wrist swivel, that's because there's no wrist to begin with, no waist swivel. Unless you do this, then yeah, I guess that's kind of a waist swivel, but that's used for transformation. And the only form of articulation for the legs or the tentacles is they could spread, you know, to do the thing that I keep on saying, the legs can spread. Honestly, I don't know if this counts as articulation, but the skirt can move back and forth. This thing is on a hinge joint, and these two are on the same hinge joints, but they're closed in. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can mention to extend an overview for the articulation. Very lackluster. But anyways, with the articulation out of the way, we can move on to size comparison. Starting off with the Prime Changers Orion Pax, B-127 or Bumblebee, Alpha Trion, Sentinel Prime, Studio Series TF1 Optimus Prime, the Decepticon Soldier. Moving into the 86 territory, here he is next to the Sharkticon Nah, Grimlock, and Wheelie, Slug or Slag with Daniel Witwicky, Sludge, Snarl, and lastly the most recent edition of the Dinobots, Swoop. And lastly, here we have the Quintesson High Commander next to the rest of the Transformers 1 figures that at least I've obtained. There are still the TF1 Studio Series Megatron and that bigger Optimus Prime that's like $80, not to mention all those YOLO parks. But yeah, this is it in terms of mainline. When the marketing for Transformers Rise of the Beasts came out, there was plenty of mainline figures, that being I believe about 9 of them, because there were 6 Deluxes and 3 Voyagers, so that's pretty much 9. Technically 10 if you count the Ultimate Optimus Primal, but unfortunately all 5 of these Prime Changers will be pretty much it in terms of mainline, aside from that $80 Optimus Prime figure. But it's a shame that this is all we're getting. It would have been nice to see a little more cast, but in one of my previous reviews I have covered this situation already, as I believe a lot of budget is going to that new Studio Series 86 Devastator, as they plan on finishing all 6 Constructicons in 1 year, and I wonder if some of that budget was taken from the mainline figures. Again, I could be wrong, wrong. If I am, be sure to let me know in the comments. But so far, with all 5 of our mainline prime changers over here, which one's your favorite? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And now we can finally move on to transformation, which is pretty straightforward. To start off, I recommend moving the arms and leaving them upwards. After that, flip open this skirt, and then untab this entire section. Flip open the nose. If you haven't already, open this up, close this in. After that, coming down over here, rotate this entire assembly, squeeze the tentacles as inwards as you can, and after that, make sure this entire assembly falls onto those slots right there. Push this down, move this entire section out, rotate the head, flip this entire section to the point where it snaps completely, and after that close this whole section in. And lastly, the back tabs on the arms will peg onto that slot like so. Same thing for the other side. And here we have the TF1 Prime Changers Quintesson High Commander in the alt mode. And well, I mean, it does look a little different from what we saw in the packaging. It looks more like a different type of warship, or it could just be the Quintesson's version of those small orbital assault carriers. So painting and sculpting is okay, it's alright. There is a lot of robot mode kibble, especially being presented on the arms, and on the bottom you could see pretty much the entirety of the chest, and you could also see the cube on the bottom as well. Since the nose cone is on this rubber-ish type of plastic, I know there's another name for it, I just can't think of it, the nose cone does come out as being misaligned. Also, why is it that half of the nose cone is green and the other half is purple? Since you gain a little more access to this hinge joint right here, this entire assembly moves up and down. So you could actually pose this little starship or orbital assault carrier in a way where it's about to puncture something. Again, I do appreciate the many spikes being integrated onto the alt mode, as it appears as if spikes are quite the speciality for the Quintessons. For a brief comparison, here is alongside the Prime Changer Sentinel Prime, here he is alongside B127, and lastly here he is next to the other two. I suppose the robot modes for the Prime Changers may have been questioning at times, but I must say the alt modes are quite interesting. They may not be size accurate, but again, this is mainline we're talking about, and sometimes the mainline figures can get away with certain size and shape inaccuracies, as long as it doesn't mess up the fun of the toy. But anyways, out of all these Prime Changers alt modes that we've reviewed, which one's your favorite? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I have to say for this guy. Overall, he's a little on the meh side, but if you're looking to collect all 5 of the Prime Changers, then I'd say go for it. Other than that, I see no reason as to get this figure. If you're looking to pick this figure up, he's available both on the Walmart.com website and Walmart at stores. I'm not sure if he will be a bigger peg warmer than Alpha Trion, but we'll see. I'm curious to know how Studio Series will tackle this figure. Even if they do make a figure, that's not going to be until maybe the next 2 or 3 years. Either way, a Studio Series Quintesson can wait, because I'm not too sure if most consumers are as excited to get a Studio Series Quintesson as they are with other Transformers 1 characters. In case that's wrong, be sure to let me know in the comments if you guys are anticipating a Studio Series Quintesson. And with that pretty much being said, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another upload. Let me know how I did in this video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See ya!